Disney seems to be changing their approach to its entertainment, especially after President Donald Trump's victory. It seems Disney is pushing to have a more conservative take on their approach to the silver screen and the American people at large. The changes at the House of Mouse seems to finally reel in Rachel Zegler, who by all accounts is one of the most divisive actors in Hollywood. Hello, my name is Shane Gamez. I talk about stuff that people get mad about. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back and get ready to be disappointed. The live adaptation of Snow White has been riddled with controversy after controversy. And though we won't get into all of them, but some of the key ones to remind everyone was just the sheer lack of understanding of the film itself, claiming that the film was outdated, and as Rachel Zegler would famously go on to say, Weird. Referring to how Prince Florian kisses Snow White during her sleep, trying to imply she was taken advantage of. But this simply isn't true, considering Snow White was placed under a curse and only true love's kiss could break it. And like all fairy tales, they believe in love at first sight, a simple fairy tale about a Prince Charming falling in love with a young princess. Rachel Zegler has had some of the most delusional and disconnecting opinions on Twitter and interviews, from wanting to defund the police to demanding she be paid every hour she was wearing the dress. Just listen to her own words.
No longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Rachel Zegler says she's bringing a modern edge to the Disney live-action Snow White. She's not going to be saved by a prince or dreaming about true love, totally missing the point behind the movie and the original story. They didn't even want the dwarfs to be in the film because it was offensive to Peter Dinklage. So instead, we got these 7 magical creatures. I'm not joking. They said dwarf is offensive. The only thing that's ever been offensive about the dwarf is when Blizzard thought this was a good face for the original dwarfs, and wow. Also, for the record, I do not like Peter Dinklage's political views. However, he's a great actor and an amazing singer. Look up the song Every Letter. Haley Bennett is phenomenal and puts people like Cardi B and Lady Gaga to shame. Zegler also made jabs at co-star Gal Gadot, who served in the Israeli army, posting pro-Palestine tweets, which I find kind of funny. We're supposed to believe that Snow White is even more beautiful than the evil queen, Grimhilda. However, in this movie, comparing Rachel Zegler to Gal Gadot is like comparing apples to crushed cans on the side of the road. Fans have been rejecting this version of Snow White for years now, and has left Disney with a massive problem. However, Disney wasn't listening either. Instead of giving us the charm and love from the original story, they gave us a haphazard 3D animated dwarfs they injected into the film as a way to get people's opinion about the film to turn around. The amount of reshoots and edits Disney has had to do to the movie has now risen the cost between $214 million, and some reports are suggesting $300 million. Basically, impossible for the movie to make any profit and losing Disney millions. This combined with Bob Iger's pushing for more woke ideas and political messaging throughout the entire Disney company and its culture. They went as far to pull their advertising off of Twitter because Elon wanted to support free speech and stop censorship and allow for all parties to express their opinions. But we know it's because Elon was going to support Trump. Funny enough, Disney wasn't the only people who pulled their advertising. Warner Brothers, IBM, and Lionsgate couldn't be on a platform that supports races or have their ads appear alongside a known racist. Ultimately, this led Disney down a path of financial ruin, as not only was their political takes disconnected with Americans, but their movies just wasn't resonating, and neither was their shows. Failure after failure kept plaguing Disney. After Trump wins, Rachel, who has been encouraged basically by Disney at this point, would take to Instagram and make several posts attacking 75 million people who voted for Donald Trump. We won't read everything, but we can read a few quotes to get the gist of what Rachel is saying. I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us towards a world I do not want to live in, leaning us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in, leaning us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want, leaning us towards a world that is fearful, pushing the idea that Donald Trump is responsible for the Roe versus Wade decision. However, this overturn was handled in 2022. That's under the Biden-Harris administration. If Kamala really wanted to stop it or protect it, why hasn't she in the last 2 years? She goes on to say, this is also a deep, deep sickness in this country that is shown in the sheer amount of people who showed up for this man who threatens our democracy. Donald Trump was president before, and according to the overwhelming majority of Americans, they said life was better, easier, and more affordable. The fact that Donald Trump wasn't the president for the last 4 years is proof he isn't going to turn into some dictator who won't let go of his power. After his loss, he just picked himself off the ground and tried harder this time, which anyone can relate to and respect. She continues, there is no help, no counsel in any of them. Yet again, bashing Trump supporters and voters, the same people she and Disney needs to turn out for her movie in order for it to be a success. Then she tells what little fan base she has left to leave Twitter. You know, the biggest marketing tool for anything and everything, only rivaled by YouTube. Get off Elon's app, by the way. The F are you doing? They're eating you up on Twitter. I don't use that app for a reason. He helped get that man elected. Ah, yes, blaming Elon Musk for electing Trump through Twitter. Elon did help Trump, but if you honestly believe Twitter is the only reason Trump won, then this explains your intelligence, because telling people to get off Twitter where you need people to see your ads for your upcoming movie, it's just stupid and extremely short-sighted. She ends her rant with, F Donald Trump. The meltdown is real. Rachel Zegler has some major TDS, but all of this would be short-lived, as Disney, shortly after the election, has seen the writing on the wall and what Americans want, combined with the new direction Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine took, would not only shift the House of Mouse, but also force Rachel Zegler to take a 180. We know that Disney made massive edits to Inside Out 2, removed large amounts of DEI, and we know Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's Deadpool and Wolverine, which, by the way, we all love Hugh Jackman. Just look at that smile. Both had anti-political messaging, just focusing on a normal story. Inside Out 2 made $1.6 billion, and Deadpool and Wolverine, a rated R movie, made $1.3 billion, which was the first positive thing Disney has had in years. After its newest phase of Marvel, Star Wars, and remakes like The Little Mermaid have been utter failures. So it's no surprise that now, with the most recent investor call, Bob Iger avoided bringing up Snow White and questions on the ideology of Disney. He just hard focused about the success of Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. His words about the future of Disney is, looking to 2025, we had an extremely positive content slate, including Captain America, Brave New World, Lilo and Stitch, The Fantastic Four, First Steps, Zootopia 2, and Avatar Fire and Ash. Iger knows that there isn't much to talk about, and he knows that he needs to focus on what matters, and these silly ideas of DEI and woke propaganda just isn't working any longer. Now, reports are coming out that Walt Disney Company is rushing to find voices that the American people can relate to. Disney knows they're losing its largest part of the country. A New York Post article reports ABC News brass are in panic mode as they hunt for conservative voices to balance the rabid anti-Trump rhetoric spewed by the hosts on The View, as well as those on other shows. This is Disney and Bob Iger taking a 180. They know their messaging and ideas didn't work, and if they want to avoid a forceful takeover by Mike Pence, they need to act fast, as Americans are checking out from the House of Mouse. Shortly after these revelations, Disney is back on Twitter, and Bob Iger's admitting defeat on his anti-Elon Musk campaign. Iger is coming to terms with the fact that America has spoken, and it's either get on the Trump train or get left behind, which I believe Disney passed that memo on to Rachel Zegler, someone who never apologizes for her outlandish actions, is now doing a 180 herself. In an Instagram post, she writes, "Hi everyone. I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding. And I am sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. This week has been emotional for so many of us, but I firmly believe that everyone has the right to their opinion, even if it differs from my own. I am committed to contributing positively towards a better tomorrow." It seems that Rachel has finally been reeled in by the House of Mouse. Disney knows it's time to end this insanity. It's time to end this push that goes against the majority of Americans. I'll be the first to tell you, I am a massive Disney fan. The old Disney. Most of my favorite songs of all time are Disney musicals. I love the old characters. They've inspired me to do so many creative things in my life. As a kid, I looked at Disney as the Nintendo of the movie world, and I believe they can still get back to where they were. Just focus on what made Disney the Disney we grew up with. The Disney magic is what we used to say. What do you guys think? Do you think this is the end of Rachel Zegler's reign? Do you think Disney is going to hit the brakes and return back to its roots? What's your favorite Disney movie? Mine is The Little Mermaid. I know every song by heart, and I absolutely love the story. Beautiful art and memorable characters. It's the perfect Disney movie. And it's the perfect animated movie. Voiced and sung by one of the most amazing singers of all time, Miss Jodie Benson. And fun fact, she was the voice behind Eva in Metal Gear Solid 3. Yeah, it shocked me too, but even as a kid, I thought, man, she sounds really familiar. Those who stayed to the end, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching. With your support, I was able to make YouTube partner, which I cannot be more grateful for that. So thank you so much for the support you have given me. Please leave comments down below. I really want to hear from each and every one of you. Or you can tell me live at twitch.tv/D2Games. The link's in the description below. Stop by and say hey. The community and I just hang out and play video games. I would love to meet you over there. Stay awesome. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you in the next one.